Okay, welcome to our first episode of Mining Now, live on the trade show floor, the exhibitor floor of CIM for 2022. We're here in Vancouver. I'm your host, Jared Downey. We are going to be doing 10 episodes live. As you can see behind me, Aspen Technology is our main sponsor here for our setup. So it was only fitting that they would be our first guest. So I would like to welcome Edward Bardo. He is the Global Director for Mining and Metals at Aspen Technology. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much, Jared. Excited to be here. I think this is going to be a great event. It's great to have a chance to speak here just before it starts.
It's kind of nice to get out.
Yeah, it is. It's early before the show just begins, but we know just how crazy it's going to be as the days progress.
I'd like to kick off these shows. A lot of people are watching from lately. A lot of people from around the world have been watching. So we're trying to just let people know who the company is first, and then we'll drill down into some of the services and sort of your approach to the industry and everything like that. So who is Aspen Technology?
Well, Aspen Technology is a software company that's been around for, count them, 40 years. I would ask everybody to think about that, is how many software companies have been around for 40 years. But this one has been involved in industrial artificial intelligence and process control, advanced process controls, many different things in the industrial world, making the industrial world operate more efficiently. Mm-hmm. Aspen Technology has been prevalent in oil and gas from the start. From the beginning, Aspen Technology was involved in the petrochemical refining and helping build the process software and things, the brains behind making processes operate more efficiently. At this point, Aspen Technology is in just about every refinery in the world producing oil and gas, and also within the chemical industry as well. Mm-hmm. Well known there. We've recently realized that demand with the sophisticated solutions that we have for optimizing and automating plants belonged also in other verticals as well, as there's demand pulling us in those directions. And so a natural one, of course, was metals and mining. Mm. And so I came into Aspen Technology to help bring that metals and mining perspective into the company.
I see. It's always funny asking these types of questions because, you're here representing the company, but very sincerely, when you've been around 40 years, a lot of companies are starting up. We'll see it in our little business here. We've been doing the show for 4 years. You see someone, they take a year just to get going. Obviously, they're going to be a little behind. How much of an advantage, even if you're pushing into a new sector, but just having that base behind you, how much of a difference does it make, even from an approach perspective?
It's a little bit new, and that's kind of the reason that I had to come in, is that this idea that you're working in this space here and you're going to suddenly transition into this space. It's not. There's, in reality, a lot of the type of solutions and ideas flow across each of these different verticals. But yes, it's still new. It's still, at times, I have to stand up and make sure that I'm representing what it is that mining is about, what it is that matters to the mining community. So I've spent my time in mines around the world understanding much about the way they do what they do and how they bring technology into what they do and how they can use that to optimize, and also understanding the problems as they do that as well. And so trying to bring that and merging it with the powerful experience that Aspen Technology already has in the industrial space, I think is a powerful offering.
Alrighty, and now we're going to take a moment to thank our sponsors. And first up, we have General Kinematics. Revolutionize the way you think about screening with General Kinematics STM Screen 2-mass vibratory screen. Using General Kinematics proven 2-mass technology, this innovative screen is capable of handling increased capacities by up to 40%. With 2-mass natural frequency, load surges are no longer a problem. The load responsive design increases retention time, working the material longer, which increases screening efficiency. All these features combine to provide the most efficient, longest lasting, and lowest cost of ownership screen in the industry. General Kinematics STM Screen smarter. Visit generalkinematics.com to learn more. Next up, we have Fuller Brothers. Fuller Brothers Inc. has over 59 years of tire industry experience as the world's leader in providing non-hazardous, non-toxic products that reduce tire management costs for a diverse range of customers. The acknowledged formula developers of globally recognized Tire Life. Fuller Brothers also produces other quality products such as PSF Plus, PSF Lubes It, tire cream, dripless tire paint, Omega tire repair system, as well as select tire service tools, and tire painting equipment. More information can be found at fullerbros.com or by calling toll free at 1-800-547-7785. Full Brothers, we have the inside covered. Next up, we have Savannah Equipment. Savannah Equipment supplies new and used mining equipment around the world, from placer to underground to ore processing plants. They have gold concentrating tables, trommels, and mineral jigs in stock now to take advantage of the high gold prices. You can visit them at savannahEquipment.com, where you will find more equipment every day. And we also have OptiSize. OptiSize is a leading edge geophysical acquisition design and software company. OptiSize provides innovative seismic survey designs utilizing the latest field technology and optimizing for advanced processing and quantitative interpretation techniques. OptiSize's mission is to bring sustainable exploration solutions to energy development with their custom land footprint reduction technology, EcoSize. EcoSize enables operators to focus on reducing their environmental and greenhouse gas footprint while imaging all their subsurface targets and reducing costs. You can visit them at optisize.com to learn more. And last but not least, we have Fenner Dunlop. Fenner Dunlop Flex belts are engineered to withstand the harshest applications, delivering benefits that solve customer problems via superior rip, tear, and impact resistance. Flex are extremely strong and robust belts that are difficult to destroy, which is important for heavy-duty bulk material handling environments. Made in their own North American manufacturing facilities, this revolutionary concept in straight warp conveyor belting is up to 3 times more impact resistant versus competitor belting. Flex users use fewer belts per year, make fewer belt repairs and replacements, reduce or eliminate belt downtime, and improve employee safety. Visit FennerDunlopAmericas.com to learn more about their premium Flex conveyor belting. And now we can get back to the interview.
Do you see, is there truly a cultural difference when you're bringing the technology? I mean, we'll get into it here in a moment of the capability, but is there a cultural difference when you're trying to go from the energy sector into the mining sector, and even when you're going to different places in the world, just a way to the same product, but you're communicating it differently?
Yes. In many cases, I think that all of us who've been in mining know how it is that mining customers and mining folks tend to think that even if you've been in 100 gold mines, you go visit someone at a gold mine, it's their mine. It's very specifically theirs. That culture within mining is very, very strong. And so this ability to be able to speak to the mining world in common language that they understand, and understanding the culture that's there that is distinctly different from oil and gas, is critical. It's critical to speak those terms and to really show that you've been in their world.
Okay, let's I sometimes get off into the business development, and I can go down that path. So I'm gonna pull myself back here. The asset performance management that you're actually offering from a technical standpoint, can you talk a little bit about it as a service, and also as it applies to the mining sector?
No, absolutely. So as we were looking at the different type of solutions that Aspen Technology provides to the industrial world, one of the ones that really stood out is that in industry, if you operate in a vertical that's that has a lot of capital intensive assets. Mm-hmm. So we know mining is that, with all the trucks, the plants, all of the amount of money that goes into physical equipment. One of the critical aspects is this idea of managing your assets optimally. Mm-hmm. That includes, taking care of all the things about how they operate, their life cycle, their usage in operation, to make sure it's optimal. So there's a whole big world here in asset performance management that is a great opportunity for technology to improve. So in asset performance management, what AspenTech brings to the table here is to address one of the critical key issues that, whether you're in surface, underground mining, whether or not you're working in aggregates, whether or not you're working anywhere in any of the industry, it's critical that you are able to understand potential failure modes and how you're operating maintenance-wise with that equipment. And so rather than just operating based on a reactive approach, asset performance management tools such as MTEL that AspenTech brings to the table give you the opportunity to use digital technology now to get a solution to a problem that's existed for a long time, to help make a decision and understand in advance of when potential failure modes could happen with equipment, and to do something about them in advance, and potentially change all the processes that led up to those type of failures. The return in mining and metals, amazing, game changing.
Because so much of the cost is in the operations, the OpEx, right? And that's really what you're tackling. That's what you're tackling.
So exactly. And so if you think within the OpEx, a significant amount of the budget for both surface and underground mining is spent on maintaining equipment. Okay. But when you look back and say, what are you doing? Why are you doing these things? In many cases, they've been told to, or they react to situations, or they operate on a fixed schedule, number of engine hours, something like this. But imagine a world where if a technology could actually monitor this in an automated fashion and warn you well in advance, not days, potentially weeks or months in advance of potential failure modes, so that you could actually do something about it when it really mattered, when it was really happening. You could actually take control of your maintenance program with a data-driven and intelligent, optimized approach. That would be a game changer. That could change your spend.
Something I'm always, and your company is at a scale and worked in the industry in a way that I think you'll be able to sort of answer this question. Can they, when a company's done it by the engine hours, is the key to find the right person who wants to hear that they're going to do it a different way, or how do you educate them? Because I'm sure there's a huge education component before any actual implementation.
No, for sure. You hit the nail on the head there, Jared. It's just, there's a real challenge when it comes to change, right? And mining has a culture. If we want to talk about a specific aspect of the culture you were mentioning earlier, within mining, it's the culture of, inertia. Sometimes it's a little hard to jump in and change, particularly when it's as mysterious as a digital technology. So yeah, there's a lot of resistance at first. And so we take it slow. And one of the things that makes it really difficult, even if the return on investment seems obvious, sometimes the best way to do it is handhold, take it slow, and prove it. Don't change anything just yet. Let's just run in parallel potential. Let's pilot it. Let's take this a step at a time and prove to you. Let you get comfortable with it and understand what's going on. My philosophy on the way this works in mining is something I called bite-sized digital transformation. Every mining company is told, focus on sustainability, safety, technological transportation, improve operations. But what does that mean? These are operational folks who have to deal with day-to-day decisions, shift by shift, hour by hour. And so what if you were to say, I can tell you something here. Here's a technological solution that will produce a result. That's something you can measure, something you can see that affects your day-to-day operation. What would that do for you? A specific bite-sized chunk of transformation that you can implement quickly and get a result.
That must be, and I guess even if you're, let's say you're trying to, let's say you've got a champion for that company. It's a mine operator. There's a representative from that company that says, yeah, we want to do this. This is a way that they can also sell it to their people as well.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that we like to do at Aspen Technology is we like to, as part of that hand-holding and walkthrough process, and many times we will actually help them build a business case with real data from their actual assets, rather than say, here's a mysterious digital technology that's going to change things for you. What if we sit with you and analyze assets in your mind, your critical stuff? We take a look at that and we start to show you what we would have done. Potentially, we can take historical events that already did occur and see what we would have done, or we might look in the future. But making it real, as I call it,
real.
Rubber meets the road. So rubber meets the road. It really,
which in itself is a very mining culture.
Exactly. My approach that I always talk about, and people actually joke about it all the time, is I always talk about rubber meets the road, bite-sized digital transformation or technology change. And this idea of rubber meets the road is it's got to be real. It's got to be something you can measure. It's got to be something you can get your hands on, sink your teeth into. And when it comes to bite-sized chunks, people get so obsessed with these big picture things that they get lost in it. That suddenly it becomes a project that drags on for years. People don't see the return in it. So we focus now, and a lot of the strategy that I have is taking a look at those quick wins that you can get on the board that will sustain your transformation.
What would be examples of it? Like in a real world mining application, what would be an example of, let's say, an open pit mine something you go, okay, let's start with this.
So, for example, if someone said to, let's say we're at an open pit mine that has a lot of trucks in operation, and somebody comes in and says, what would happen if I could increase the availability of the haul trucks that you have by X percent? It could be a small percent, 7-10%, something like that. What would that mean to you? Well, if they look at their operational budget and they look at what that would mean in terms of tons moved, suddenly it's huge. It's a win that they get. So by bringing something like MTEL in and doing predictive maintenance, prescriptive maintenance type of tools, bringing this into the mine and quickly starting to get results to where they start to see, oh my God, that this particular haul truck has an imminent engine failure. The diesel engine is going to fail within the next month. We need to address it now. Imagine if that had happened in the field, and starting to address things. The crusher, our primary crusher, we have no backup. Primary crusher is going into failure mode, and we get advanced warning before it happens.
Right.
Nobody who works operational in mining will say, my God, if that's not that important, I don't really need to know that.
Yeah.
If they could be told well in advance.
Would the primary crusher be an example of a bite size step first?
I would say what we typically do is we can work across all the different types of assets within a mine, from conveyors, crushers, mills, even out to heavy mobile equipment. And the idea is that predictive maintenance is a quick win for them, because if you walk into any mining company, there's an operational budget set aside for maintenance.
Yeah.
If there's a case to be made that you can significantly reduce that, you can say something, address that specific thing there, to optimize maintenance operations by giving a data-driven approach to it, prediction and prescription. Prescription being the ability to prescribe something to change what you're doing that led to failure in the first place. How would you not do that? It's almost a no-brainer, right?
Yeah. But now going into the next day, I mean, obviously, though, as you said, all the, the crushers, the conveyors, the haul trucks, all what you're capable of doing. Now, what about the large scale? When someone says, yeah, okay, yeah, we're ready to go. We want it all. I mean, I want to be a fly on the wall. I keep asking me, no one's let me in yet. But I want to be on the fly on the wall when that you meet with 5 representatives from their company, and they say, yeah, we're going to go full scale. We've done it here and we've done it here. Now we're doing it all.
Well, we've done.
Where do you start with?
We've done that a bit, and what we do is, as I said, it sometimes starts a little bit slow, but there's a snowball effect, much like you're describing. And the beauty of it is that both commercially and also technically, the idea and approach that we take, particularly in the predictive maintenance space, is very scalable. So, for example, if I say, this is a haul truck, I've designed a specific autonomous solution, an agent, the specific approach we take, that will monitor specific failure modes on this truck.
Yeah.
Well, now it's working really well. It's catching all sorts of different things from sensors on that truck and warning me that it's going to fail. Now it turns out that if I have a bunch of these type of trucks, I can scale that across and start duplicating it more or less. And then I start to spread out, and I can say, now I want to do fixed plant operations. Now I want to do conveyors. Now I want to do this. And you just expand it as you want to. And it's very scalable, and it leads to a critical component towards building remote operation centers, for example, where you want to manage the enterprise from one central location. Digital technology is the key to that. And the best thing is bite-sized chunk digital technology that works today that you can demonstrate in that remote operation center.
Is that, I mean, obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but is that the way of the future, though? Like, will there come a time when you could do asset management from, I mean, I know there is some versions of it already happening. We talked about it on the show, but that you're managing, one company is managing 10 different companies' mines all over the world and things like that. Is that, could it be done if everybody wanted to do it at the same time?
Well, it could be. I mean, from Aspen Technology's perspective, we're trying to enable the autonomous plant, this stream of bringing the technology today that starts to automate a lot of the plants and make it to where what potentially a few people could monitor a large number of assets and controls across the globe. It's become reality in many cases. And so the potential exists that it could scale to the point where a single entity could be controlling a huge number of assets worldwide. Geography doesn't become a factor anymore. Resources, not so much a factor. And the complexity is managed, because it's impossible for humans to be able to do and manage all the data and take into account all the geographic spread, all the different amount of information happening so quickly coming in, but yet there's a way to do that.
The world is having this huge increase in demand.
I said all is happening. And so suddenly there's a way to say, let's take this load off you. And suddenly we can do this. And then it enables that capability to allow it to be run on an enterprise scale like that.
Have you got a chance to sort of be out, have you got a chance to work sort of around the world on these operations, places like Chile and South Africa and places like this?
Yes, I have. I spent a lot of time, part of my perspective on understanding technological adoption in mining comes from being in mines all around the world, whether it be in the Pilbara in Australia or the Bowen Basin in Australia, to down in Copper Belt in Chile, to Brazil and iron ore, to South Africa, where I'll be next week. I've spent my time in mines of every type, underground, surface. I've seen a lot of the different aspects, and I've, put my boots on the ground and I got dirty trying to truly understand and then getting involved with technological transformation in mining. So as technology was being brought in, optimization technologies, new hardware, new things, I've been there and seen a lot of what it's like and seen how the cultural and geographic changes or commodity change impacts that experience.
Yeah. Where, as you go around the world and as AspenTech continues to expand, how do you sort of how do you keep the communication? How do you keep people up to date with what can be done? I know that's a tough question, but if you implement something, 2 years from now, there's a whole new approach that now we can integrate into this. And how does your team handle that?
Well, Jared, that's a really great question, because what you're asking basically leads into the fundamental challenge within the mining culture, kind of to loop it back to what we were asking about. Because within the mining culture, one of the reasons change management, a term that I kind of grind my teeth when I hear because it's so overused in mining, one of the reasons that doesn't work in some cases because engagement tapers off. And one of the ways that to solve that issue that you're describing, of keeping them aware as technology evolves or new technologies come about that could potentially change things, is staying engaged. You must have, you can't walk into a mining company and drop off a solution and then step away.
No,
you just can't do that.
No.
If you're going to be there, you've got to be there with them, and you've got to sometimes hold their hand, and sometimes you got to do it for them, but you've got to be there, and you've got to be a partner with them in doing this, or the likelihood that you have the success you hope, and that you have the scaling in the future with new technologies as they come about, really diminishes quickly.
And I think before we wrap up, I think I'll make this my last question and that's sort of what I was referring back to at the beginning. When you have 40 years, even if it's in other industries, it must give the company culture an understanding of how to approach the industries, how to approach people, how to walk them through that process. That must play in part.
And one of the things, of course, I think that was the 40 years definitely does that. In addition, I think what it does is it builds confidence. When we think about it in oil and gas, it didn't all happen at once. Mm-hmm. It was a slow thing that took off, but once it did, like I said, the snowball effect occurs where once you start getting references, people can talk to each other. Mining is it's a very close community.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're sitting in Chile or South Africa or Brazil or you're in Australia. It's a very close-knit community, and people talk and they know what's going on. And so in many cases that, just making sure that you stay connected, making sure that you keep them in and stay with them. Yeah, we'll bring that all together. And Aspen Technology tries to build trust and shows we'll be around here. We'll be here. Yeah. We'll be here 10 years from now. We'll be here. We're going to be around here for a while for you, and we will partner with you in this endeavor to improve through technological advancement.
Well, thank you for helping us put the show together. We really do appreciate it, and thank you for being on the show.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate this very much. It's a great opportunity to talk. I have a passion about this subject, and it's great to have an opportunity to share that with folks.
And hopefully we'll get to do it again.
Thank you very much, Jared.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, everybody, for watching. That is our first episode. Like I said, we have 9 more coming. I got to keep my numbers right. And we're going to be going into them all different angles, but on every episode, you will see Aspen Technology's logo behind me. So make sure to check them out. We'll have plenty of links, follow them. And we will see you on the next episode of Minding Now.